Nobody starts at the finish line. You have to start somewhere. In order for you to get to where you're going, to meet that destination, you can't think that you're going to get there instantly. Welcome to another episode of the Mr. Mindful Minute podcast, where we touch on different things, on different areas of life, on how we could go from a nothing place to a something place. And today, we are talking about making your past present. Yeah, that is a thing. We make our past present in so many different ways. So many different areas of our life, we make the past the present. It's almost like, in a sense, you like time traveling, right? You time traveling in a couple of different ways. You time traveling emotionally. You time traveling mentally. You time traveling physically, right? And you might be thinking, what are you talking about, time traveling? Well, see, think about it like this. When we go through an experience or situation in life, say it happened 5 years ago, a year ago, 20 years ago. Do you forget it? You do not. You do not forget it. And whether it's favorable or unfavorable, you do not forget it. Now, there are events and things like that we may not remember for whatever reason. And it just means that it didn't leave a strong enough impression on our minds in order for us to just think back and recall it. But the stuff that left a very strong impression on our minds, we can think back and recall it like that. And so there are many different ways where we can think back and recall things because it left a strong impression. So we can look at it from this standpoint. If you watched a movie or seen a comedy or something of that nature, and it made you laugh, and I'm talking hysterically laugh, like you legit was like in tears, your stomach was hurting, just recall that situation right now. Recall it. Think about a movie that you found very, very funny, a scene in a movie. I promise you, that is you, because you could do that. It's you remembering it, but it's also you making your past your present. Because the same way you laughed at it in your past, well, you probably can laugh that same way right now in your present. And it's going to have the same effect that it did when you first seen it. It's no different. So that's one of the ways we actually make our past our present, by recalling things back to mind. And so we do this not even thinking about it sometimes, but we're going to touch on today on how that is helpful, and then on the flip side of it, of how it is hurting you. And so we already touched on it can be mental, physical, or emotional, right? And so we kind of touched on let's say it's kind of like a physical or emotional type thing when we recall something and we laughed about it, right? But here's another way that we can view it. Say you were in a traumatic situation, i.e., for example, a car accident. I was in a lot of car accidents, right? From 2008 all the way to 2016, I was in a car accident every single year where somebody either rear-ended me or they hit me on either side of the car. None of them were my fault, but it did create a level of trauma, right? Because I developed like PTSD a little bit from it, even though I used to be a street racer at one point in my life. And I feel as though that actually helped me to overcome actually that fear of being in an accident again, right? And that's probably why I can still be be a truck driver today, right? But watch this. So I can recall each of those accidents. And so even though it was in my past, the way that I can make it my present is because I could develop a level of caution with every single thing that I do when I'm driving. It makes me be very, very cautious when I'm driving now. And so that's how I make my past my present. Because the same experience, the same effect that it gave me then, I can make it give me it right now, even though I have not been in a car accident. And it's just another way of us saying we're using experiences in life to make us better. It's helping us to compare something to, right? But that's how I can use it to help me. Well, this is how I could use it, and it could be hurting me because I could be recalling that experience and it could make me have a level of anxiety. Just recalling the fact that every time somebody hit me, I have a level of anxiety now. Well, I'm making my past my present because even though it happened then, I am emotionally or mentally making it affect me right now. We don't want to do that. We don't want to make it so things that we've experienced in the past are affecting us negatively right now. We want to see how we can make our past our present and it affect us in a favorable way. Okay. What's something else? Say maybe physically. Okay. Physically, I was more fit when I was in my early 20s, right? And then even when I was in my later 20s, right? So I was very, very fit. I was a personal trainer. I trained others. I trained myself. Well, here's the thing. With that situation, I make my past my present because the same muscle memory that I had back then from me constantly doing it, well, I have that same muscle memory now. And so my body will be able to actually get back into some of those things. So in a physical way, I make my past my present and it works for me because I can still do certain things. I can actually say, oh, I was capable of doing this. And so unless there's a physical limitation that is on my body now, I can still do the same things that I used to do early on. Say, for example, I used to do about 1,000 push-ups a day. Well, I could do that today. I may not do it. I didn't do it straight then, right? So I'm not going to do it straight now, but I can break it up so I could still get it done. So I can make my past be my present right now, but how it can also hurt me. So my past, I can make my past my present and it hurt me where I may say, oh man, I used to could do this, but I can't do it now. And then I start emotionally feeling bad because I'm not capable of doing some of the things that I used to do. That's how I make my past my present and it be unfavorable and it emotionally and physically is hurting me, right? How about an old eating habit? Well, you make your past your present right? When you actually say, well, this is all I ate when I grew up, and this, that, and the third. So now it's hurting you because you don't actually navigate and to see how you can actually do some things that were better for you. So we have to remember, we can make our past be our present in either a positive way or in an unfavorable way. And so we have to take control over our minds and actually choose to make these situations more powerful for us. So how can we look at this aspect of really saying how I'm going to make my past be my present in a favorable way where it is benefiting me? Well, here's another way. Another way is, a lot of people tend to say, well, I know what I've been through, so this is why I'm not going to maybe tolerate a certain behavior or give up so easily or allow certain things to happen. I know what I've been. So that's how we make our past be our present in a favorable way, because now what we're doing is we're using those experiences that we are recalling back to our mind to constantly be the motivating force for us to continue to do. Now, how can your past be your present in an unfavorable way where it's hurting you? Well, the way that it becomes in an unfavorable way where it's hurting you is when you have certain behaviors that were in your past. And so, say for example, you at one point didn't like to be physically active. And so how that was your past, and it may have been hurting you because you may have some joint pains or some this or that. You may have put on a couple of extra pounds that you didn't want to, or you just didn't feel motivated. And then you got to a place in your present where you're like, you know what? I'm going to be more motivated. I'm going to get more stuff done. I'm going to take care of this. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to start working on this project sooner. All right, cool, great. But because how your past can affect your present in an unfavorable way is that mindset that you had back then, it may recall, right? And you just might be like, I don't feel like doing nothing. I'm just not going to. And then that becomes a repetitive habit. And you're like, man, all of the hard work that I had put in, now I got to go back because I allowed my past mindset to become my current mindset. And it's not saying that it doesn't happen, and it's not saying that you can't like overcome it, but you have to look at it from the standpoint of, that was my past mindset. No more am I going to allow that to be my current mindset. You don't let your past be your present in a mental way. So we know that a lot of things that we do in life in our present are usually predicated based upon what our past was. But at the same time, our current is also going to shape our future based upon what we're doing today. And so when you learn something, and so the future you is going to move in a certain way based upon how the current you is actually moving, not necessarily how the past you moved. See, the past you was motivating the current you. The future you is going to be motivated by the present you and how you think now, and that is what's going to make you say, oh no, this is why I'm doing this. Watch this. Say for an example, in a relationship. So say you was in a relationship and it didn't work out. Okay. Well, how y'all were in the relationship whether it was amazing, whether it was not so great, no matter what it was, when you get into a new relationship, you're in your present, well, that is going to have a lot of shaping based upon how it was in your past relationship, because you are going to say, I know what I'm capable of receiving. I'm not going to say I know what I'm capable of this person doing, because this is a totally different person, but you do know you are capable of receiving certain treatment, whether it is favorable or unfavorable. See, if it's unfavorable, it's going to make you be very cautious and make you say, I know that somebody is capable of mistreating me. I know that somebody is capable of talking down to me. I know that somebody is incapable of not giving me the attention that I want. I know that somebody is capable of not loving me the way that I want to be loved. But on the flip side, if you did receive that, you'll say, when going into another situation, you'll say, I know that I am capable of receiving the attention, the love, the affection, the conversation, all of those things that I really, really value, because I got it from somebody else. And so if I got it from somebody else, that means that I'm capable of receiving it again. It is not saying how long it is going to take for you to find that, but you can say, well, me having this mindset is based upon already receiving something in my past, and that is shaping my present. We make our past be our present in a favorable way, or sometimes in an unfavorable way. We have full control over how we are going to navigate in our present, but it is shaped based upon what our past was. But understand, your future is going to be shaped upon the experiences that you take and what you do in your mindset in your present now. That is why it is very, very important for us to say we have to focus on attention being on our development, our understanding, and our growth, not solely on entertainment. Because if you're solely focusing your time and your efforts and your attention on entertainment, then that is going to shape how you move in your future, whether you like become a go-getter and you're trying to get things done and things of that nature. So I want you to understand that that is a place. So since that is a place that we would be choosing to be in, we also have the ability to now say, okay, I have a choice to not be this way as well. And so a lot of times our past affect our present based upon us making a decision to shift or to stay the same. And so if we make a choice to make a shift, then that is going to redirect our future. But if we make a choice to stay the same, then the projection of where our future is going to go is going to be based upon our present. And so a lot of times we don't necessarily change as an individual unless there is a reason for us to change. So a lot of people, sometimes we don't change, say for example, our eating habits. Say we don't change our eating habits because our present, right, is based upon what our past was. And so our past was we ate maybe very unfavorably to our health. So our present is shaped based upon that, because nothing has happened to cause us to rethink or reevaluate, or no one has challenged what we're doing. Okay, so now in our future, we develop something that forces us to make changes. And so we can choose, if we didn't make a shift in our mindset, then we could choose to continue to still do what we were doing. So now your past is affecting your future, but your past affects your present, because if you choose not to make any adjustments, even though it is not helping you, it is harming you, well, okay, now what your present is, it may be an unfavorable health condition, but because you didn't make the shift, then you can't do anything about it. It is when you make that shift that something can actually change. And so again, a lot of times, we as individuals, we don't make changes until we forced to make a change. And usually that is at a place where we are very far gone with something being, it's almost like it is a point of no return. So like, for example, if a person develops something that's really, really bad, but they was told early on, hey, if you keep up this behavior or this eating habit or this way about yourself, well, something later on can develop and we may not be able to do anything about it, or people may not like the disposition that you have, or people not going to want to be around you because you act like that. Well, if we just didn't make no change, if we didn't make no shift in our mindset, and we continue to eat the same way, we continue to act the same way, we continue to think the same way, then guess what? If we developed a health condition that was based upon our eating habits, now our present is affected by our past. If we're in relationships with people, and not necessarily sexual relationships, we just are in a relationship with somebody, and whether it's our friends or family, right? And people, we find it that people don't really want to talk to us as much. They don't want to be around us as much. Well, that's because we haven't shifted our mindset. And then, so even with our fitness level, if we continue to keep the mindset of, I don't feel like it, I don't want to do this, that, and the third, well, we're going to get the same results from what our past was, and it's going to affect our present in an unfavorable way. So we have to really understand, anytime that we want our future to change, well, we have to make our present change from the past mindset that we had. And if we can do that, once we do that, we'll be. So remember, greatness is within you. Greatness is a mindset. My challenge always is for you to go be great and on purpose.
You're in control of how you feel. You're in control. You are the determining factor of your feelings. No one else can control how you feel. Remember, you're in control of how you feel. So control your feelings.